a secret now. I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Booze. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull no punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Welcome. Yes, welcome. Welcome. We're so excited for everybody to be here. Welcome to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast.
Aaron's
I
getting
am
her
one of your
jam
lovely
on.
hosts. I got my game on. I'm one of your lovely hosts, Aaron, and this is...
I'm Krista.
And
And
this is
wrong way.
Brandy. Hey. Hey. So we have a really great show tonight.
We do.
Krista, would you like to explain and tell us more about this wonderful person who is here to talk more and educate us a little bit more?
Yeah, we're gonna talk some Bigfoot tonight, and I'm just gonna bring him on up here, and
Yeah, just bring him out. Why do we have to? We don't need to play around. Let's just bring him out.
there he is. Oh, we
Well,
lost
if you
him.
can.
He was here and gone.
Well, anyway,
it's a ghost. We're talking ghosts. Never mind.
Hey, it's the normal thing that happens here. I'm surprised my screen is still on.
Yeah. Well, we do have
Paranormal
Daniel Benoit
podcast. Here we
tonight,
go.
is who our guest is. So he'll be back.
He'll be back. He'll just have to re-enter.
Yes, he'll have to re-enter. While we're waiting on him to come back, let's just say hi to everybody out there. Let's see. He's trying to come back here.
Oh,
Wow, we've got a lot of people out there tonight. We have Night Marionette Productions, Gene, Gary Spikes. Let's see. Crystal, hello. BMR, long time no see. Seen you today.
hey, did you see Hellbent Holler out there?
Daryl is there. Yep. And Hellbent Holler is actually going to be on tomorrow night with us. So I'm really excited.
That's exciting. Can't
Yep.
wait. Woo woo.
Al is out there in the chat. Glenn.
So is Cricket.
Cricket.
She won't leave me alone. I've been gone so much today. She just won't leave me alone. So sorry. Everybody's going to see Cricket a little bit tonight. So
Right. So anyway, we have a good show for you guys tonight. And Daniel, welcome.
Yes, welcome.
If you can hear us.
Blink twice.
Hold your hand up. I don't know. I don't know if he can hear us or not.
We'll just go on telling everybody else hello until he gets in here and can be here.
Right.
So we have
why don't you tell him a little bit about him?
Okay. Well, he's a Bigfoot researcher, and I was going to let him talk about it because he's got a conference and everything coming up as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and we've got Be Kind is out there tonight in chat.
Oh, Be Kind.
Yeah,
She's like my little fave.
As Brandy said, Hellbent Holler, Pat Murphy, Pine Island Research.
There's some new ones out there tonight. Woo!
Yeah,
We do. We have some new people. We have a lot of our regulars too. And I just have to say real quick to all the people that like religiously watch, like, come on, you guys, you are so awesome.
Yep,
Like,
you
Thanks
are.
for
thank
the
you guys
love.
so. Yes, we all, like, all three of us are just sending that love to you guys because, like, you're making it every week to
Yep.
support us, and we love that. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
We definitely appreciate you.
Mhm.
Letitia Nunley is out there. I think I said Daryl already. I think I said BMR. Lori Barnes, C. Campbell. Trying to see who else that I haven't hollered at. Jared Crazy Indian. Hello.
Uh-oh. There we went
We
again.
lost him again.
Okay.
So, Krista, while you work on getting him in, Brandy, how was your week?
It has been crazy. My mother's
Yeah.
been in the hospital,
Oh my
and
gosh.
she finally got out yesterday, and so we're just trying to.
Are you there, Daniel?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here now. I had to switch devices because my laptop was not connecting correctly. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Totally understand that.
So yeah, I'm actually on my phone now. So
Yeah, and you're coming in great.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
coming
that's-
in absolutely
coming in great.
great.
Yeah.
Good
Fantastic.
deal.
Yep.
and
Yeah,
it
Brandy,
doesn't
I'm
seem like
really
this.
sorry. Oh, real quick, I was just gonna say, Brandy, I'm really sorry to hear about your mom. I'm saying prayers and sending love and light.
Well,
But
yeah,
yes.
she was in there. She was in there for a week and a half. She's just having a little bit of heart issues, and now she's got the life vest thing, and
Yeah.
she's like, if I happen to pass out, she goes, back up. I said, why? She says, because this thing will zap you. I'm like, oh, great, awesome, thanks.
Don't hug me.
I was like, here, kiss.
Right.
That's what you get. I'm
Gotcha.
not touching you.
Right.
But she's in good spirits, and so we're just getting everything straightened around with the nurses coming in the house and taking care of her and all that. But hey,
Right.
you know what? Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
It's my mom.
Absolutely. Well, just let her know that we're sending lots of love and light, and I'm sure that everybody who's watching too is saying a good
Sending
thought
some
for her.
prayers.
And
Yep.
yep,
Say some
yep,
prayers for
lots and
Brandy's
lots.
mom.
I'm pretty sure she's
Also,
in there watching us anyway.
Yeah.
She's our number one fan.
Yep.
Ah.
Yeah. Also, my 12-year-old daughter came home from school today,
Oh yeah,
crying, and
that's
she
bad.
could use your prayers too. Her friend from school passed away, and she didn't know until she went to school, and it was actually
That is horrible.
was on a motorbike accident. Yeah. So she's pretty upset, and the kid's been to my house. She came to her birthday parties, and yeah, so it's
That's so sad.
yeah.
And
Sad.
you said her birthday was on Christmas, right?
Her birthday, she turned 13 on Christmas.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
yeah, so
gosh, I
prayers
just can't even
for that
imagine.
family too, So
I can't imagine. With
Yeah.
Colin being, my son's 13, and I can't imagine.
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I just can't imagine. So that's so
Right.
sad. So sad.
Yeah.
Well, we'll send love and light to them as well.
Yeah, appreciate that. Let's talk Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Yes.
no more depressing. Let's talk about fun stuff.
Let's talk some Bigfoot.
Let's talk some Bigfoot.
well, Bigfoot could be depressing too if you don't find them after being out in the woods all day. So
Well, that's true.
that you know what? That is so true.
That is
All
very
that
true.
time.
Yeah. Daniel, why don't you start off by telling us how you got into Bigfoot and your research?
Well, all right. Well, first of all, it's right around this time of year. It's about the 13th. Yeah, I'm approaching my 13th year in being involved with the research. For many people, it all started with the Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin footage from 1967.
Oh yeah.
That footage, as much as I told the story, it still fascinates me to even mention that little bit, because it kind of opened my eyes. It oohed and awed me. Basically it really wooed me into the whole subject. it had me to the point where I wanted to find things for myself. I wanted answers. But just after seeing over the years, I'm sure you guys seen it too, the documentaries and the science that's been involved with that footage alone. How even till this day, that science cannot debunk that as being anything false. I mean, everything point towards that was a real creature in that film. So, again, it had me going out there in the woods, really, with my senses heightened. I was really awake, and because, here I am. I'm somebody that grew up being in the woods since I was a young kid. And something like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, it was known, but it wasn't, with me and growing up, it wasn't a popular thing. But it opened up a new world to me, and it actually had me looking. Because your average person that goes out in the woods, your hunter, your hikers, unlike people like me and, so many others, we're actually looking for it now. But
Right.
But that's what it did. It had me actually looking for the evidence. It actually had me looking for answers. And sure enough, I mean, I started finding things. I started noticing things.
Yeah.
Eventually, I started finding the tracks. But I started putting, just looking and noticing a lot of odd things that you normally wouldn't really pay much attention to. For example, structures, formations, things that look like something with opposable thumbs had took the time to create it, either a human being or something else,
Yeah.
So, but that's pretty much what did it for me as far as really what got me involved, was the Roger Patterson footage, and Bob Gimlin. So
where exactly was that? Where was that taken at? Do you know by chance?
It was in California, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it like Northern California area?
Yep.
Yeah, Bluff Creek, California.
Yep.
Okay. I was just wondering because I couldn't quite remember. I mean, we all have seen it and know that, classic stance. I remember I did watch a documentary one time on that, and they had some scientists come on, and they were even discussing just the movements.
Yes,
that the movements were like that people like that the general like human will not move at all that way, and it was almost like physically impossible to some degree, and that it was just the movements alone and taking the plants, the size of the plants to the size of the the creature. It just was like huge, and it was just such an interesting thing. I think we've all just, and the fact that it was on what was the type of film that they used? It was on that like.
Well,
it was like
67, so
30.
Yeah, that was like 16 millimeter. 16.
Yeah, 16
millimeter.
Yeah. And you can't really like, you can't mess with that really. Like it. To be able to mess with that type of film is very, very difficult.
Absolutely.
It's such an amazing piece of evidence that it's just crazy that, that was how long ago and we're still talking about it,
Oh, yeah.
And it's still inspiring people. It's crazy.
Yeah. A lot of people are not familiar, but over the years, with further, analyzing and playing around with that footage, they've actually come to the conclusion that Patty wasn't as tall as what a lot of people thought she was. Everybody was pointing in the upper 7 foot range. Actually, from what they figured out, was actually 6. I could be off a little bit, but 6'4", 6'5", somewhere within that range, which is still tall. I mean, I'm 6 foot, so those few inches make up a big difference. So. But
right.
I mean,
well,
like I said,
also say that it was possibly a female.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's why they
due
call
to
it that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It was basically a hairy female without a bra. So.
I'm a lady.
Whoa! There we go.
Welcome to different parts of the U.S.
That's right.
It's called the red light district of the woods.
So, Daniel, how often do you get out to do your research?
Well, considering this time of year, I've actually been out this past weekend. I spent all weekend out there pretty much doing some exploring and doing some filming because I'm working on something new, something fun. Hopefully, it'll be educational as well. But I'm working on a new series right now. But so yeah, I mean, as much as I would want to get out there during the week, I can't. Basically, I'm a weekend warrior at the moment, if you want to call it that. Um, like I said, I'm on the road with my job most of the time, Monday through Friday. So, but I'm blessed to have the weekends off, but I do take advantage of them. But I do schedule other events that allow me to be out there, which I got one coming up in May. There's a group of us that will be out there doing some explorations and whatnot. But yeah, anytime the opportunity is available, I'm out there. I know a group of us got other things planned throughout the year. They're not going to be public. They're basically private gatherings. We don't want too many people to know of them. But one of the things we do plan on doing is in South Carolina, which will probably be around October, because a group of us that were participating in attending the October Bigfoot Festival that happens every year in Westminster. There's a few of us that are going to get together and doing some investigation, some scouting around, because we have sources down there that have actually been sharing information with us, geographical information, activity reports, stuff like that. So yeah, we've been gathering information and making notes, and we plan on doing some research while we're down there. So, but yeah, again, every opportunity I get, I'm out there, because where I go out here, it's about an hour drive for me. So if I can afford to make the ride out there and spend all day and come back, I'll do it. So, but
right.
Yeah.
And how many people does your team consist of?
Well, just here in Virginia alone, it's not a large number. It's probably approximately around 12, give or take. As far as active, there's actually, if I want to say more active, more involved, there's probably just maybe 4 of us.
Gotcha.
However, there is others up and down the East Coast that represent and that claim to be a part of the team, which we appreciate what they do and their contributions and their inputs, everything else. So,
yeah, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Can you tell us about like some of your encounters, like something that you've had that really sticks out, either be physically seeing it or something that was like, oh, that was a oh crap moment type thing?
Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've had a lot of little things, but one of the main things that took place was during a 2014 camping outing, where there was a total of 6 of us that were camping together. We did some daytime exploring, and scouting around, and it was about the second night or whatever, May 3rd. It was May 3rd of 2014. Where we decided after doing some day hike and hanging out at the camp, we were like, guys, let's go do a night hike, So we went on a night hike from where our campsite was to where we went to. There was a lake in the area. We actually went down towards the lake. It was in the evening, but it was when we left out from camp. It was still daylight, and when we got to the lake, there was no one there. Basically what we did, we split up in 2s and spread out around the lake. Spent some time out there listening. A couple of us had parabolic mics, so we were listening because we were surrounded by mountain ridges around us here. And nothing too exciting. We heard some movement, some limb snaps through our parabolic mics. And then at one point, there was a couple that was with us, Kimmy and Darren. They stayed down at the beginning of the lake, and we were all in radio communication. And so I communicated with Kimmy. I don't know first of all, before I go on any further, you guys ever watch Finding Bigfoot with Bobo and them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bobo, if anyone recalls his Bigfoot vocals. Well, Kimmy, she's a small woman. She's not big. She's a small woman. But I will tell you, her vocalizations are basically a female version of Bobo. So, and I
Wow.
really, yeah, very impressive. So yeah, I radioed down to Kimmy. I said, Kimmy, go ahead and give off one of your vocals. Everybody else remain silent, listen, see what happens. And she gave off her vocal, and probably maybe within 10 seconds or so, we actually got a response. It was a distant response, but we all heard it. It sounded like it came from the opposite ridge. So
Yeah.
so that was cool that happened. And basically, besides that, there wasn't much after that took place. All I know, it was dark out. It was late, and we had almost about a mile hike back to the camp. So we all decided to regroup and then head back. And keep in mind, all the roads out there, well, most of the roads are out there. They're gravel roads. They're all forest roads. There is one part of the road that is paved coming in from, it depends on which way you come into the area. However, we had, we stepped foot to head back to camp. We were basically in a single file line. And I was actually walking ahead of everybody. Everybody else was directly right behind me. And we weren't trying to be quiet. We were not talking at normal tone amongst ourselves. And interesting things. We noticed a deer. Interesting thing about this deer that was on the side of the road walking right towards us. It was very close. And I was like, we all kind of noticed it together. And I stopped just to stare at this deer. I was like, what? That's kind of odd. Deer around there, you normally will jump and spook and run off. So, I mean, I don't know. Something about it just seemed kind of odd. Like, why ain't this deer scared of us? There's 6 of us here walking. We all have headlamps on our head, you know. But anyway, it just went off, disappeared further into the darkness. It was right there off the edge of the road. And then right after seeing this deer, as we walked up a little ways, over on the opposite side of the road, something catches my attention. And keep in mind, in the national forest, sometimes you have these random little metal signs, especially these little yellow signs that say no vehicles beyond this point, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at this because my headlamp's reflecting off of something. I said, you know, that thought of the sign ran through my head. I said, that's an odd place for a sign to be right there. But then all of a sudden I'm staring at it and it comes into focus. And then all of a sudden it blinks. I said, holy crap, there's a set of eye shine. And Tracy Arnold, my buddy Tracy, was the next one right behind me. I said, Tracy, what is that? And after I said that, I was like, is that a flipping mountain lion? I didn't want to use the words I used at the time.
Right.
But that's exactly what I thought it was, because there were, I don't know, because it was setting low. From where we were standing and at the distance and the level of where it was, that was my first initial thought, that could this have been a mountain lion?
Right.
And all of a sudden, it zips off and disappears. But Tracy's like, guys, come on up here, get up here. We got eye shine. So we actually all regroup. We all get into that one spot where we saw the eye shine. And we're all getting in there. We're looking down into the woods, and we noticed that set of eye shine again, approximately between 30, 40 feet away. And now keep in mind, from where we were standing, the ground sloped off several feet, then leveled back out. But we're still looking down at this. Whatever this is not tall. And all we're seeing is eye shine. It's really dark in this area. A lot of thick brush, trees, and whatnot. Some briars. But we're looking down at this thing, and it's very mysterious, but very cool at the same time, because when you can't identify something, it's like there's an excitement there, you know. And plus, this subject, I'll call it a subject, as I do often when I share this, it was swaying side to side real fast, which was very interesting because I'm very familiar, well acquainted with all the wildlife that exists in this area. I mean, I've encountered everything, basically, at some point in time. So I'm looking at this. What the heck is this? I have no idea what I'm looking at. And nobody else is saying nothing. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to figure this out. But whatever this was kept swaying side to side. Mm-hmm. Now, just about 4 or 5 feet or so to the right of that one, another set of eye shine appears. Wow. This one here, same color eye shine, but this one here was probably about 2 feet taller. So the small one, for the record, at the time we estimated probably around 4 feet tall.
Wow.
Now we have another one that's about 6 feet tall. Now this second one here is not moving, but we can see the eye shine, large yellowish looking eyes, and on occasions it was blinking. And now we have this little guy that's swaying side to side fairly fast. Now we have a second subject right here that we're staring at. It's not making no movement, not making no noise. It's getting a lot more interesting because, again, I'm not identifying these. I can't make out. The only other animal in these woods that I've ever seen with bright yellow eyes with reflection off of light would be a raccoon. Raccoons have very solid bright yellow eyes, at night. And so I'm like, these are no raccoons because they're not on a tree. There's no trees right there. All I see is pure darkness. You could barely see the bushes and the trees that are in the area to begin with. At the distance, we're staring at the two of them. So we got this going on, and I start looking around, and there were some thick brush or briars and bushes right over to the off to the right, with maybe 1 or 2 trees around them. I'm looking around over there, and then I'm looking down, and all of a sudden, very low to the ground, I noticed a third set of eye shine. Wow. And I was like, what is this? And keep in mind, for the record, this was several feet from the second one. Probably another 5-6 feet or so to the right. And I'm staring at that, and I can't remember. I think it was Tracy. I was like, guys, there's another set of eye shine down here. But I'm staring at it. I'm keeping my focus on this third set of eye shine. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden, it starts raising up. It's raising up and getting taller and taller and taller. Next thing you know, it's coming over top of the bushes, and then it stops. I was like, wow. We have a third subject that's actually towering over top of the 6-foot one by easily another 2 feet.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, what do we have going on here? And
real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you. I have a couple questions.
Oh, no. Yeah.
That the audience is asking. Al asked, was there any smell? It's his first question. And then he has another question for you, too.
Absolutely no smell. I've been asked that before. That's one thing I personally have not noticed. It was actually a very clear, calm temperature, because temperatures play a key role in anything. If there was any smell, we did not get whiff of anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And Al also asked, what season of the year was this?
This was early to mid-spring. It was May 3rd of 2014. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to get answered before we got too much.
It's totally okay.
There's tons of questions coming in. I see them all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's all good. I totally understand that. I host a podcast on occasions myself, so I know how it works. So,
Hellbit Holler asked real quick, what part of Virginia do you research in?
Well, you need to pass a government clearance to have that information. So, no, I'm just joking.
I'll tell you, but then I'll have to kill you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. No, there's actually, I'm not the only one here. I know I have friends that do research, and that they're friends of mine that do Bigfoot research, but they associate with me, but then again, they don't. So I don't want to ruin it for any of us. But I will say we're right here in the Shenandoah Valley. So yeah, I'll say that much. I guess I could say the National Forest as well, but without giving pinpointed exact locations, I don't want to go that far. But I have
a gazillion and one questions for you, so I could talk to you all night. I don't know if Aaron or Brandy has any questions for you right now.
Oh, I'm just listening to a story.
Okay.
I'm like, now you got 3 of them, and one's about 8 foot tall. Now keep going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, again, there's nothing being identified here, but it gets really interesting here now. We got 3 subjects. We got a 4-foot subject. We got a 6-foot subject. Now we got one that we're estimating to be 8 feet tall. And we're not making out no physical features, no details whatsoever. It's total darkness. I mean, our headlamps that we had on our head, I mean, I'm surprised it's picking up the eye shine. Cause I mean, and again, on occasions we're seeing some blinking of the eyes, but everything changes here very shortly. On the tallest subject that we have now, at one point, he made a maneuver. He turned to his left. Now, you notice how I say he. Well, I just say he because I'll try to explain that in a little bit. But he makes a maneuver where he turns completely to his left, and it appears that he took a step or two, and he turns back, looking directly back at us, and then blinked his eyes. But now, when he made that maneuver, and I believe it may have been the angle or the position, the way the light hit its body, but clearly, without doubt, no mistaking that there was a silhouette that was made out. You could see very wide, broad shoulders and a big round head that was on top of those shoulders. Wow. And at that point, I knew then and there, I said, these are no bears. I said, that was not a bear. That is a bipedal humanoid figure. Mm-hmm. And before I had the chance to say anything, I believe it was Tracy. Tracy was like, guys, we got squatches. And, well, actually, he said that before seeing it. I'm sorry, let me back up. He said that before that. But when that maneuver was made out and everything, that's what confirmed it for me. Because what else would that have been? I shared this story a long time ago with a coworker. He tried to tell me, I said, he's like, dude, you seen a family of bears? I said, no. I said, bears ain't gonna have big, broad shoulders. I said, we got a 4 foot, 6 foot, and 8 foot subject all bipedal here. I knew, I was convinced. I personally was convinced that these were squatches. I mean, not seeing the physical details that I would have loved to have seen, I want to assume that this was a family unit. I mean, you have a young one, the middle-sized one would have been estimating possibly female. Then you got the big boy, I mean. But what was interesting about all this is, well, let me back up. This lasted it seems like it was like an hour, but the total time period from the time it started till the time they disappeared into the darkness, I mean, it was probably between a good 10 minutes maybe. Mm-hmm. But it seems so much longer than that. I mean, who knows? Maybe it did. Maybe we lost track of time. But it was probably, I'm safely saying 10 minutes. But okay. I mean, it could have been longer. I don't know. But it felt like it was so much longer. But sure. After they disappeared, they went further into the darkness. And then we turned off and started heading back to camp. Because we weren't that far from the lake, from where we had this happen at. And so there's something else that happens, but not this same year. Well, first of all, I'm skipping points out here that I like to point out because I keep thinking about what happened in a year later around in the same area, but around the corner. But let me say this much: when we got back to camp, we were still talking about it. Because we were semi-quiet till we got back to camp. Then all of a sudden we all woke up again, like, whoa, what just happened? What did we see? We were actually trying to discuss and debunk it. And then there was an eye opener that was a major disappointment. Me and Tracy Arnold, we each had night vision binoculars in our backpacks. Not once did we ever think about pulling them out to get a better observation. Mm-hmm. So
I can relate.
I mean, they weren't the most expensive devices, but they work great up to 50 to 75 feet, but they were great. They were, from the distance we were having this encounter, we would have saw some details. We would have saw some features or something that we could, but yeah, we were kicking ourselves in the butt. And let me say one more thing too, because I get asked this a lot. We weren't scared, except for Kimmy. Kimmy was the only one that acted totally nervous, and and I get that. But I personally, if anyone else felt fear, they definitely didn't show it. Yeah. I felt totally calm and relaxed over this whole thing. It was exciting. And I think part of that is because I wasn't alone. There was 6 of us together. I mean, maybe if I was by myself and this took place, yeah, I probably would have been on edge. I felt scared or something, you know.
Yeah.
But
Me personally, if I would have seen a family unit like that, it'd have been changing my pants moment for sure.
right.
Definitely. I think that would have got me a little. So yeah, I'd have been another one who was standing there going, I don't know about this.
Yeah,
You know.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
For sure. I have
Yeah. So.
did
Oh no.
you
Go ahead.
go ahead and finish what you were saying, and then I'll ask you. I've got a whole list of questions for you.
Oh no. Go ahead. I'm good. I'm good now. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Do you ever, when you're out in the woods, do you ever have that feeling of not being alone, of being watched?
oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. I've been in that situation. I mean, quite a few times. Actually, this past weekend, in this one particular area I went walking in that I haven't been in a long time, and the thing is, this particular area, I don't know if it's just the area that I'm walking in, or is there something there actually really there? Because I mean, it gives you, because over on the one side, you're walking down this old I call it old farm road, because it's off of this top ridge that there's an old Jeep trail there, and then you got these other split offs, because parts of this area many years ago it used to be farm. You know, it used to be a farming or whatever you want to call it, plantation, and you're walking down this old farm road, and it's opened on the one side, even though it goes up to a ridge over there, but over on the right side, as you're going down, it is heavily grown in with mountain laurel. And mountain laurel is one tree and plant that stays around year round, no matter how cold or what the weather is. And as I tell people, that's one area that would definitely provide coverage and could be also used as an ambush, point. And I guess because of how thick it was in there, I guess maybe it was part of the way I felt was concerning something could be hiding in there.
Yeah.
But again, I did feel like there was something there watching me,
I personally have never seen a Bigfoot or a cryptid. However, there's a place out in over towards Kansas City, Aaron and Brandy and myself, we've all been there. And I had an encounter one night with a Sasquatch, but I didn't know it until it was like 6 months later. And it's weird story.
Oh,
I just had this weird feeling of being watched. And the 3 of us, we're ghost hunters, so ghosts don't scare us, but this was a whole other different type of feeling. Just something was not right. And it was about 2:00 in the morning, and I had my dog out there. And everybody that knows my dog knows he's super friendly. He doesn't bark, he doesn't growl, just a big old baby. He started growling, and I'd never heard him growl before. And so my friend Kathy was sleeping inside the camper, and I went in and I got her, and I was like, come outside, there's something not right out here. And she too is also ghost hunts with the 3 of us. And she's like, oh, she said, I don't know. She said, it's creepy. Let's go in. So I took the dog in, we went in, locked the door, and we were laughing, thinking, oh, it was probably a raccoon, we're raccoons freaking us out. Well, 6 months later, fast forward, a friend of ours, Jessica Potter, is a psychic medium, and she does work for the police and all that kind of good stuff. And she actually came up to us and pointed over towards the camper area. And she said, tell me what happened over there. And we kind of looked at her. It wasn't really registering as to what she was talking about. And then it hit Kathy and I both at the same time. She said that there was a camper there, but it wasn't that camper. And then she said, you're the big brown dog. I see the big brown dog, and I see you backing into a camper. I'm like, oh my God, I know what you're talking about. I said, yeah, there was something out here that night, but I don't know what it was. She said, it was Bigfoot watching you.
wow.
And for her to just pick up on that, we didn't say anything to her about it. Honest to God, me and Kathy, we never posted on Facebook, and Aaron can attest to this, that, I mean, if I would have thought I had some kind of weird encounter, I would have told Aaron or Brandy. And,
Right.
we laughed it off, Kathy and I did, as like a raccoon watching us. But for Jessica to tell me, that you had Sasquatch watching you, and it wasn't the first time, so I just, I've had an encounter, but the feeling of being watched, but yet, you know what I'm saying? I've never saw one with my eyes.
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely. Now that's interesting that you shared that, because right here in Virginia, not to me, but now I've heard these from firsthand accounts from good, well-trusted people. A buddy of mine, Richard, the older gentleman, him and his wife. When I used to work with Richard, into this one particular area that he actually introduced me to. Him and his wife were camping there in a small camper, and on the same night, two things happened on the same night, but within a close proximity. It was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and something shook his trailer, like bang, like the way he said shook. It got hit, but it shook the trailer when it got hit.
Wow.
He told me he came running out of the camper with a flashlight and his pistol. And when he came out and looked around, there was nothing visible, nothing in the area that he could tell. And then he had gone back inside, shut the door, and whatever. He said it wasn't even 2 minutes later, did it again.
Yeah.
And he come running back out again and had a good look around and didn't see nothing. And well, what's interesting
You
is,
still there?
yeah, you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah, I
Okay.
hear it fine.
Hello?
Uh-oh,
Yeah.
I think we
Krista, I
lost
think it's
Krista.
you.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
Can you
Can you
hear me?
Frozen.
Yeah,
now
I
you're
can hear
good.
you fine.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. Okay. Huh.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
Didn't
yeah.
interrupt.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. So yeah, after this took place, when I learned of this general area, I decided to go camping there myself, along with a friend of mine and his son at the time. And yeah, we found, after exploring in the area, we found some really interesting stuff. And among one of the things was some deer remains, bones that were twisted and snapped in opposite directions. And right behind where we were camping at, where our tent was, you go walk back a little ways, and it drops down to a creek. But there's a gap with a thin lining of bushes. And one of the things we picked up on, there was these large, clear impressions in the leaves coming from the creek, leading up towards where the campsite was. And I actually got a picture of this. And what I did, I took dry plaster and I sprinkled the plaster inside the track. I outlined each track that we found, and I snapped a picture of it. I even took measurements. The stride was approximately anywhere from 50 to 60 inches. So,
Oh, my goodness.
yeah. And after sharing this with my buddy Richard, when I described exactly where we were set up camp, from where you enter into that area, and where I told him exactly where we were at, because there was an old wooden outhouse off the edge of the creek. It's been there forever or whatever. When I told him where we were set up, he's like, Daniel, that's where our trailer got bumped or kicked or whatever. He said, that is the exact spot. I said, really? Because, like I said, we have that short little trackway that's coming from the creek, headed up to the camp. And like I said, it drops down, like it's like almost like goes out like this, and then almost a straight shot down to the creek like that. So, and I got to thinking, I said, man, yeah, something at nighttime could easily hide from a camper. I mean, they could run down. You got bushes right there for one thing, and then it drops right down to the creek, so they could be laying down on their belly, like in the total darkness, unless they want to run across the. Right, exactly. And plus, if you run across the creek, I mean, it's all these big rock ledges and everything else, but you could run in between and hide. I mean, easily. It just made sense to me. But I was excited to hear that was his camp spot. I didn't have no experiences there, but that's what I found. That short little trackway and then, like I said, some deer remains that were twisted and broken and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, they
Well,
have some.
I do have to tell you that when people describe to me about finding these remains that are twisted,
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, how twisted could it be? But a couple weeks ago, I saw my first picture of a deer that had its head twisted, not once, but several times. It just looks like it was just wound right up. And I said, "You're kidding me." I
yeah, I've
I
never seen that.
I didn't understand it. It's like it didn't go around once, it went around a couple times. And I was like, wow, that,
Hmm.
no. I mean, can you imagine what it can do to you if it got a hold of you? I'm like,
Right. Oh
no, no
yeah.
thanks. No thanks. But there's
Yeah.
been a lot of discussion about, well, in our discussions about once you see a Bigfoot for the first time, do you think that it's easier to see them again?
Uh
Kind
not
of like you're
necessarily.
open to it now, or is it just happenstance that you might run across one?
Well, in most cases, as you hear, a lot of people have their experiences without looking or finding. I mean, most of these things happen to non-believers, or your general skeptic. But I mean, I've spoken to several people that were former skeptics or total non-believers that have actually come forward and shared what they saw and were blown away, and were afraid to talk about it because they're the same type of person that used to make fun of people for people like me or you or whatever. But now,
Mhm.
since they've had that experience, it changed their life. It turned their world around. But now, as far as seeing one once, does it make you prone to seeing them again? Um, I think it really depends because there's people that have been involved with Bigfoot research for 40, 50 years or longer, and some of them might only had one experience, it's one sighting all those years. Um, Also, I guess it depends if you're in the right area, the right time, and if Bigfoot wants to reveal himself, because like a lot of people believe, and I believe it's true that they pick and choose who they might want to see. If they don't feel
Mhm.
threatened to you, they might feel welcome enough to show you, hey, I'm here,
Mhm.
but
Well, it's just
you
kind
can
of
look
like
at
with
me.
any animal. I mean, with any animal,
Right,
they'll be like that. Also, I kind of my personal thought is that, yes, you might be marked, but I think the mark to me is that you are more quiet. Once you have an experience, I would think it's no different than paranormal. Once you have that paranormal experience, it gives you that moment to actually sit and listen. You know what I
right,
mean? You're more open and you're hearing more, you're seeing more, because your mind has been blown, essentially. You
exactly.
know, and
So
so I
you
think
know what
that
you're looking for.
right,
Right.
you know what you're looking for, or you're wanting the experience again, so you're allowing that moment to happen instead of it slamming you in your face. You're allowing for those settled moments that maybe before you just ignored. And
Mhm.
Right,
so, I would think that maybe, yes, they're attracted to you, but maybe it's that attraction that we hear about. Maybe it's because you're more calm, you're more open to it.
right,
Just like with other people who are, going ghost huntings, and let's say, they're more open to the idea, so they're actually relaxed, they're listening, and they're intrigued. So
I
that's just kind
I'll
of my
tell
thought
you.
on that.
Oh yeah, I agree totally. And I'll tell you a good example. And I'm not trying to sound silly, but anyone that's familiar with the Spider-Man story, how when he first got his Spidey senses, his hearing, everything, his sight in the movie, everything was heightened. Everything he noticed, things like that. It's the same thing with the experienced outdoorsman. Really, anyone who's spent years and enough time in the woods, regardless if you're just a basic wildlife hunter or whatnot. You don't have to be a Bigfoot researcher to have these senses, but if you're if you instruct your mind and have focus to listening to or try to pinpoint or pick up on odd things, that you'll start noticing things. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I grew up in the woods, but having my experience did exactly what happened to Spider-Man in the movies. It opened up and really heightened every sense that I have.
Right.
So when I'm out there, yeah, for one thing, when you're out in nature, you want to respect nature for one thing, and respect what lives in it.
Absolutely.
And so there's been a number of times where I've been with other people. And it's like, I feel like I'm an idiot sometimes. They're like, guys, why are you talking? Don't you hear that? Aren't you picking up on that? I was like, because I don't know. It's just, I guess I feel like I'm the only one that's really paying attention or wanting to pay attention.
Right.
But sometimes I hear things without trying to hear things, if that makes any sense. So
No.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's-
you're talking to three people in the paranormal. It's like when we hear something, it's like, did you hear that? Did you
Right.
hear that? Yeah,
Right.
I heard that. So we can get somebody to confirm and validate what we're feeling and what
Yeah.
we're seeing. So
Right.
I
And
get
one of the
that.
things that I know that I even teach people, like with mediumship and stuff, when they're trying to develop their clairaudience, so hearing spirits talk and stuff. One of the things that I tell them is to listen to music and to pick out certain parts of the music and just focus in. Or go sit outside in the woods, listen to the leaves crunch.
Yeah.
Listen to a stream, listen to even a bird flapping its wings, listen to those things, because we're in a world where we don't listen to things.
Right.
It's just a lot of noise. So when you actually sit and you start to train your ear to zone in on certain things, it becomes easier. And so I think that you've probably trained your ears to listen for those subtle differences.
I would agree.
In pitch and sound and everything.
Yeah.
And so, it's almost like teaching you like abilities, but it's for something else,
Right.
so you're more heightened in your senses because you're training yourself to listen for those things.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hey,
Yeah,
Erin,
absolutely.
can you guys hold those thoughts? We have to take a 5-minute break. When we come back, I'd like to kind of maybe talk about a little bit of the woo factor with the Bigfoot and see where you stand on different things, Daniel. So guys, give us 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Get your potty break, get you something to drink, and we will be back in 5 minutes.
Woohoo!
4 minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey guys, we're back. And before I
Hey,
forget,
hey.
I just want to remind everybody to, on Monday nights, watch Texas Front Porch at 6:30 p.m. Central. Tuesday evenings is Van Buren Variety at 7 p.m. Central. At 8 p.m. is Beyond BMR. Wednesday evenings is Siru Papers at 8 p.m. And then right after is Jason McLean Questions Everything. On Thursday afternoons, you have Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob at noon. And then on Thursday nights, you have us, the show, Blondes and Booze. And Friday nights, you have Blondes and Booze and the Woo. So if everybody would join in, like, and subscribe to all of them great channels as well. We definitely appreciate it. So anyway, let's get back on Bigfoot.
Exactly. I mean, I know it's not Friday, but we're going to talk about the woo anyway.
What? Quick question, Daniel. With ignorance being a medium, you hear a lot of reports of these creatures mind speaking to them. What are your views on that?
Well, I'll put it like this: I've never experienced it, so I can't dismiss it. I mean, I can't. I personally, there's people that say they experience it. I mean, I'm not there with them to hear what they're hearing in their head or whatever. I always tend to stay away from that kind of thing, only because, like I said, I don't believe it because, like I said, I have not experienced it. Sure. And I know, and that's the case with a lot of people. It's like even your Bigfoot non-believers. I mean, because, they don't believe it because they've never seen it, but a lot of them don't believe for other reasons. But however, yeah, it's just when it comes to stuff like that, it's just I just never experienced it. I mean, maybe someday I will, So
Fair enough.
That's me. I've never experienced it, but you have all these credible people that talk about it.
Right.
So, and who am I to doubt them? I've got some pretty stories myself, around the paranormal. So, yeah.
Now, I'll be honest with you. Back in the day, when I first got onto social media, when I first learned about other people involved with the subject of Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and there was a lot of theories that I came across. Now, I never jumped on board with any of them. I took note of them, and I started doing some of my own research, before I started getting some other experiences and stuff. But at the same time, I was always the type of person that was like, I was a kid in the back of the classroom just taking notes, but then some of the ones that were like really bizarre and to me that I would consider off the wall, I was always the one that would jump on that and really like more or less give the person crap, but over the years I've I guess you could say I've become humble to the point where, well, I want to be that person. Like, okay, they could be right somewhere along the lines.
Right.
I don't want to be the naysayer, but there's certain things I've learned where you got to learn to remain quiet and just let it go and just wait and see what happens. Then there's times where certain things are presented, especially on social media, where as I tell people, you got to be careful what you believe or hear on social media, because I've seen so much hoaxing. You don't know. I mean, the hoaxing has become advanced. I'll put it that way. There's images, especially images. They could easily be, what's the word I'm saying? Manipulated. There's so many alleged trail cam photos of Bigfoot. I mean, I've shown on more than one occasion how any image could become a trail cam image. I have gotten good at Photoshop. I do it to be, I do a lot of Photoshop to making my flyers, and I played around doing other silly things just to make points, So,
Right.
but yeah.
Aaron, what are your views on mind speaking? How people, I mean, we've all heard of some credible people, talk about it. What do you think about that?
Well, I kind of think that, I mean, from a medium standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I know that there are times where I know I'm communicating, with a higher power, and I hear how they're speaking to me and talking to me. And scientifically, if we want to get into that a little bit too, through the pineal gland and whatnot, there are areas of the brain that do receive some sort of action and messages. So to me, with Bigfoot, they are from encounters that people have said, like how they physically look, they're obviously related to some sort of ape creature. Our closest relative as a human are chimpanzees and apes. So obviously they're able to communicate to some sort of degree like how we do. You've heard of apes and gorillas and whatnot being able to use sign language to communicate. So to me, when I think that psychic ability is really in everybody, it's just kind of what degree are you at? You should be able to communicate with them on some sort of non-vocal communication. Yeah. I mean, you have ants that follow each other. You have birds that follow each other without being able to communicate. So why would we not at least look at this option when it's a species that we don't really know a whole lot about?
Okay. Right, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, how do we know that they don't communicate with one another through gestures and whatnot, and also telepathically? Bees use gestures as well. Other animals use gestures, birds and whatnot, but there's something with them that they're able to communicate to where they know where they're going, what direction they're flying and whatnot.
Right.
So to me, I think that there has to be something with that.
I've heard a lot of video clips where Bigfoot is mimicking different animals. Why couldn't they mimic us? Why, why couldn't they do that? So, I mean, I'm open to the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things that Aaron, you were mentioning with the different animals, how they follow suit with each other. Basically, I guess one way to put that, I guess they're in tone with each other. There's but now Bigfoot, for example. One of my viewpoints on Bigfoot, as far as the way I look at Bigfoot, and for the record, before I say anything, I'm not making them equal to what I'm about to make mention, but I believe there is a correlation where they're similar in a lot of ways. Are non-human primates, gorillas, chimpanzees, for example, and so forth. A lot of their behaviors, everything that they're observed doing, and even scientists don't understand why they do what they do, but we're observing this and we're contributing Bigfoot with these same behaviors and so forth. And with primates in general, our non-human primates, they have a lot of communication. There's several forms of communication, whether that be vocalizations, as you mentioned earlier, hand gestures, movements. They do a lot of that.
Facial expressions, showing teeth, things like that. I mean, there's just so many. Yeah.
Exactly. So, so there's different ways of every species to communicate that in one way or another they've developed or over the years or adapt. Well, adaptation is a very important term to consider with a lot of species. Sure, some species appear to have become advanced over the years. Primates in general are a very highly intelligent species. But again, yeah, you're right. There's a lot that we don't understand and a lot that we don't know about Bigfoot. Yeah, what gets me is that a lot of people, you hear and see it on social media all the time. People will tell you what Bigfoot is. People will tell you what Bigfoot does, but they haven't experienced it. They just, that's the one thing that bothers me. Even though we all say there's no Bigfoot experts, and these are the same people that will preach that, but yet they're going to tell you what Bigfoot is, what Bigfoot does, but they never seen or witnessed or experienced it whatsoever. I mean, we don't know what Bigfoot's doing. I mean, in my opinion,
Right.
Understand.
Well, yeah. I mean, for us, we're just jumping into the whole cryptid arena. We're learning stuff. Because we're interested in Bigfoot and other cryptids, so we're learning new stuff every day. So
right. Absolutely.
Each one of us has a new question for it, and I think that's why we like asking the questions that we like, because a lot of viewers want to know some of these questions. We don't want to talk, really like scientific over people's heads talk, you know what I mean? And so that's why it's nice to be able to discuss these sorts of things. And I know I'm interested in it just in the sense of, if these are creatures that are closely related to humans, I myself being, kind of, weird in my own little world of what I can do. I know that I come from a generation and a lineage of being able to have this ability. That's genetic.
Right.
Simple as that. That is genetic. So to me, I'm kind of wondering, so what other genetics are out there with something that's closely related to us? If I can do this because of my father and my grandmother and whatnot, what's for me to say that there's a creature out there that can't also do this? That's closely related to us. And also just the fact that they're able to stay hidden for so long makes me wonder if they can tap into things that, we don't realize.
Al says to you, Aaron, not weird, special.
Right. Yeah. I am special.
Thanks, Al. We're special.
In lots of ways.
Special? We know.
But
my woo-woo stuff. That's what I always do. Like when I'll say when we're going ghost hunting, I always have to say, I saw it with my eyeballs, not my woo-woo.
With my eyeballs, not my woo-woo.
It's not the woo-woo thing. I saw it with my eyeballs.
Exactly.
That's pretty good.
What are your feelings on the interdimensional? You hear people talk about, they believe they're interdimensional type beings. What are your views on that?
Honestly, that's another one I tend not to believe in, only because, again, I have not experienced witnessing that. I mean, a lot of people believe in that and have not witnessed no such thing. However, it's just, in my opinion, something like that, to believe in something like that, it's it's something that people throw in there because they can't explain what they they can't explain why Bigfoot's not seen or why Bigfoot just all of a sudden disappeared or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to say that Bigfoot can't do this, can't do that. I mean, I'm not going to underestimate a being that we don't know nothing about. However, it's just, again, it's something that I just have not witnessed, or experienced whatsoever. All the years I've been in the woods, I mean, I've heard all kinds of crazy things. I mean, I heard all kinds of vocalizations. I mean, I've had a couple different experiences with Bigfoot, and none of them actually, I can't say that were out of the realm of whatever our earthly realm of logical things that can't be explained. But my whole thing is with a lot of this, because I know there's people that jump on the woo side of things only because, in my opinion, it's a lot of it's logical science that's misunderstood or not understood, period, or that people don't know how to explain, but if Bigfoot is of any special, if he has special abilities, I hope one day I could experience it, so I could say, guys, I'm not, and that's the one thing I tell people, I'm not afraid of being wrong. I have no problem taking something back and saying, hey, I'm a believer in this now because, look, I've actually seen it with my own eyes.
Right. It would take a very naive person to say, oh, I saw this and now it's okay, to not be able to be open, not naive, but very stubborn person.
Not
be like open to the idea. There's so many things that I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I've never seen one, so I don't know. Yeah. And this is coming from somebody who talks to dead people. I mean,
well, real quick, this is a funny comment. Letitia, she says, I keep expecting to see a face pop up in Erin's window because you can't see a window behind you.
You know what, Letitia?
She's right.
Do not be surprised if one does. My house is haunted as heck, and I have been saging daily because I don't know what's going on with the moon cycles, but this business is getting old. It is getting old. I want to go to sleep. And I'm tired of the smell of sage. It smells like a burnt ass turkey in my house.
Terry
from the psychic. I'm tired of it. So if you do see something, screenshot it or something, and we'll talk about that one later.
I would have said
we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Right. Just keep it to yourself. I don't want to know.
I'm telling you, it has been horrible here. Krista can know because she can confirm that one, because I literally the woo in me has gone full blown with crystals and sage and everything else, because it has been a very
trying time.
Yeah, why go see Bigfoot? Come to my house. You want to experience a ghost?
Or something else we don't know. I do have a question. Talking about the missing persons thing going on in all these national parks and things, what are your thoughts on this being a cryptid type of a attack?
Well, the way I've always looked at that was it's very possible. I'm not going to eliminate the possibility. But yeah, there could be a number of key factors involved with these missing person people reports. But I mean, can Bigfoot be involved or cryptid? Sure. It's very rare that you hear of Bigfoot attacking or people, but these are reported cases that's happened in various locations in North America and whatnot. But so I mean, I'm going to say that's a good possibility. Absolutely.
I would agree.
I personally think, this is just my opinion. There's you were saying there's so not that many, attacks per se with Bigfoot, that I think it's just I think it's several dumb people going out into the woods and going way too damn far and not knowing how to get their ass back.
Right. I've actually agree with that too. Absolutely.
And then unfortunately, there are mountain lions. and all sorts of things. And I grew up in Washington State, and Bigfoot land. And the one thing that I've learned moving to Missouri, that woods are big here. Woods are different out
Mhm.
there. Woods are different. You do get lost, and not just a little bit lost. You get lost.
Right. Oh yeah.
And there are areas that nobody goes. And so when you go, I mean, they have hikers and whatnot that go up into those woods and those trails and whatnot so many times through the year. The mountains and whatnot also, that they don't come back, and they send all sorts of people out there for them. So people get lost a lot out in the woods. I think that we hear a lot of the stories of people when we find them and they're all mangled up and whatnot. But people need to realize that we have out in Washington, we have mountain lions, we have bears, we have coyotes. I mean, everything, things that will eat you. We have things that will eat you out there. So when you go get lost out in these woods where there's nobody, I mean, you're gonna, you shouldn't go that far. Because I just personally feel like I wouldn't think a Bigfoot would attack you, especially when they don't want to be seen. They're so, they're not wanting to be found. They're not going to run out and attack you unless they're feeling threatened for their, their babies, their partners or whatever.
Or being provoked in some way. Yeah.
Being provoked, feeling like they need to protect their children or their, partner.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad you said that and brought that up, because I get asked a lot, is Bigfoot aggressive? Is Bigfoot mean? And this goes for all wildlife. Well, and you basically said it yourself, and I'm glad you did, because it's true. It's a fact that you don't put yourself in a position where they have to defend themselves or strike back. Any animal could be dangerous. Even the ones even a deer. I mean, a deer looks peaceful and graceful, but if they have to defend themselves, their feet and legs will kill you. If they, unless it's a buck, you'll get. But bears, I've had so many encounters with bears over the years, and bears are very skittish animals. Black bears here on the East Coast. I mean, some I've seen. I've been close to some, very close, but yeah, they usually end up going in the opposite direction.
Right. And a lot of the times when you hear I'm sorry not to interrupt, but when you hear of a black bear attack, it's usually because you do not realize that you have walked directly in between them and their baby.
Right.
And that is when they have the most attacks, is because their baby is somewhere and they're watching and they're letting them hunt and learn how to forage. And you have literally walked in between the path and not realized that you have a mama and a baby on two completely different sides, way in the distance and hidden. Right. And that's when you will get attacked.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that either.
Yeah, I've only had one situation. Well, I wouldn't even call it a situation. I had a little bear cub run across the forest road on me one time. But thank God I was in my vehicle, because I don't know what would have happened if I was on foot. But that little bear ran across the road. I said, oh, and I looked over. I said, well, Mama ain't over there. So I pulled up to where it went in. I'm staring over there. I'm looking into the woods. And sure enough, until I saw a little limb flicker, my eyes got focused. I said, oh, there's Mama. She's not far in, waiting on the cub, But there was a part of me that wanted to grab my phone and step out of the vehicle and get a good picture. I said, no, I ain't taking that chance.
Right, because they don't say mama bear for any other reason than it's mama bear. And I think people need to realize too that these animals, they're teaching their babies to hunt, to forage. So they're giving them that distance, just like a regular mom would, a human mom would. You're giving them their space to learn and explore. And if you come in the middle of that, I mean, you could get hurt. And I have this feeling that when it comes to a Bigfoot attack, that either one, there's something they've got, some sort of illness, like, when you hear of like raccoons in the daytime attacking people,
Yeah.
got rabies or something, there's either something like that psychologically wrong with them, or you have come in between a mom and her baby.
Right.
Or there's some sort of threat going on. You've done something to really tick them off. I just don't,
Right.
I don't feel like they're aggressive for something that wants to be hidden so badly.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel aggressive.
Yep. I would agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would agree. We do have a question here. Terry asked, do you think they can cloak to not be seen?
That's a very good question. And as I do a lot of comparisons, again, with our non-human primates, and this, well, and not just non-human primates, but this goes for a lot of known species that we know that exist. A lot of them will blend in with their own natural environment.
Mm-hmm.
I've been staring into the woods and not realizing there's deer just between 20 and 50 yards out in front of me.
Sure.
Because they blend in so well.
Mm-hmm.
Primatologists who've been in the field with mountain gorillas, like literally anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 feet right there in front of them, playing, doing their thing. A lot of people don't realize when they go behind the foliage, even though they're still right there, they appear to be like completely gone.
Yeah.
So it's all part of blending in with their own natural environment. I know people believe they cloak because they watch the Predator movies and whatever. But again, if they do cloak, I never seen them cloak except for, like I said, many other wild known species blend in. They're in their own environment. They are masters of hide and seek,
Yeah.
I could be walking through the woods, I could be watched half the time and not realize it,
Yeah.
They could be right there blending in, standing next to a tree, looking like they're part of the tree because they blend in. In my area, from talking to other eyewitnesses, they're anywhere from black to a reddish brown. I mean, two primary colors that will blend in depending on what part of the forest you're in, So, I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, again, that's something I haven't experienced,
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
It's like they're wearing their own ghillie suit. So
yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, I know you make documentaries and that kind of good stuff that you've done some. What made you decide to go down that road?
basically, I was invited to start doing it. It's a fun thing to do because you get to share your research, you get to share what you're doing actually out in the field, and you get to speak on your opinions, your belief, your conclusions on various subjects, and it's one of the many tools that I adapted to as far as spreading awareness, education, and on every opportunity I get, I'm going to continue to do so. I mean, I do my own field videos and I post them to YouTube, let people check them out, to kind of get a feel of what I do. I'm not one of these people that go out and point out, look, I got Bigfoot in my video. I mean, if that's ever the case, I will point that out if I believe I do got something there. But most of my field videos are basically research based, exploring, pointing things out that I do find, that I find odd, that could be Bigfoot related. I have pointed out foot tracks that I have come across. But yeah, I mean, I've been featured in a few different documentaries. The latest one is actually, one of the ones that were filmed earlier this year is actually coming out this year. It's called I Believe in Bigfoot. It features other well-known, respected individuals. Ronald J. Moorhead, for example. The North Carolina Squatch Watcher is Michael Cook from Kentucky and so forth. But then there's another one that's actually, it was filmed for a TV series that's on Paraflix. For those who are not familiar, Paraflix is like Netflix, but it's a paranormal network. And so it's for a new TV series called Hometown Haunts. And I was filmed for the first episode, The Beasts of Elkhorn Lake. So yeah, that's it's now streaming. You can check that out on Paraflix. hopefully eventually they'll actually put that on DVD for me, because we covered a lot of ground, did a lot of filming, and it went really well. I was impressed. The Twisted Paranormal Society research team, they're the producers. They're actually sponsors for my annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference event. So you could always come to Virginia and find them there. They actually live local here. They're about 25 minutes away from you. So
Yeah.
So
Very cool. So
yeah.
can you find that channel on like I have Roku? Can you find that on Roku?
If you could pick up Paranormal Plus, Paranormal Plus, Paraflix,
Really?
I believe you can. Yeah, I think you can. I mean, don't hold me to that, but I think so.
Okay. I was just curious what made you get into the documentaries. We were actually, the three of us were offered a TV show, and we talked probably 3 hours one night on the phone, and we ended up declining only because, it's this is what we like to do right now. So not saying it's not in our future, but at this moment, we like educating and that kind of thing via this way. So that's why I was curious. I wanted to ask you, what made you decide to go ahead and do it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things I had to turn down. One in particular, I don't even want to make mention of it because I'm not going to be doing it anyway. Two is because it hasn't taken place yet for those that will be involved. And but it's something I really wanted to do. One of the things I had to turn down for the time period that it was going to take to do this event. I mean, I would have had to take all my time off from work, miss time, and I wasn't going to get paid for this. And there's a lot of things that I had to consider. Yeah, it would have been a great experience. It would have been something to add to my resume, but I just have to be patient, hoping that something will come later on. Like one of the biggest things, I mean, to me, it was a big deal. I was out in Washington State like 2 months ago. I got flown out to do an in-person interview for a show called Bigfoot Today. And that alone, just going out there was a great experience, over in Spokane, Washington. So
yeah. Wow.
So
yeah, I lived on the other side. I lived on the west side of Washington.
Oh, okay.
I lived out by the water.
Yeah.
So
very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I would have loved to.
It's a beautiful state.
Yeah, if I had more time to be out there when I went out there, Stephen Major, he is the founder of Extreme Northwest Expeditions LLC. I mean, he was going to even take me up in a helicopter if we had time, but it didn't work that way. But he showed me around the general area and spoiled me while I was out there. But it was awesome. I really enjoyed it because the cool thing about it was my first time ever flying, which was awesome. I loved that experience and first time ever to the West Coast. So I can officially say I've been to the West Coast. But there's opportunities that may be popping up later. Other things that I have been presented. It's just they haven't come around yet. So time will tell. Things I'm not going to mention on social media because if I do get picked up to do them, then because I know there's going to be the gentleman that presented or this to me. He was on contract where he couldn't share too much information. However, so anything's possible. I don't know.
And here's the thing with TV shows too. Actually, I talked to, I believe it was Letitia Nunley today on the phone, and we were talking about TV, and we have some paranormal friends, the Kling brothers, and they were actually offered another TV show, but they declined it because it was going to be scripted. They didn't want anything like that. And you know what? And that would be the three of us. We wouldn't want anything scripted either. If we're going to go to a haunted location, we don't fake evidence. We don't, and I feel a lot of those shows, not all of them, but some of them, it's made for TV for a reason.
There's a few of those shows that are just, people are like, paranormal. And, they just kind of shrug it off because of these certain individuals on TV today. And I'm like, that's not what we want to do.
No.
See,
No.
I'm glad you said that, because like even the Bigfoot shows that are on, that been on, and the ones that are on, because
Mhm.
I'll even make Expedition Bigfoot season. The new season's coming out March 20th.
Mhm.
But I know people that been on shows. I know people that are involved with whatever, and I can tell you, I mean, and a lot of people know this without being told, but these shows are for entertainment,
Right.
and they got to do whatever's necessary to keep the viewers viewing, So
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's all fake, but you got to keep in mind
Right.
it's entertainment, and that's what it's there for. It's
Right.
there to get views and and so forth. So you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and how many hours? I know I can say for the three of us, we spend countless hours in haunted locations and nothing happens. And I'm sure
Right.
it's the same for you being out in the woods, nothing happens. So, TV shows, there's something happening all the time, so yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, I get questioned. Like, people know after I come back I'll announce, "Hey, I'm back in phone service. I just came out of the woods,"
yeah.
and people start asking, "Did you see anything?" I said, "Well, some of the things, like, because what I'm doing now, I'm working on my own little mini series that's going to be on YouTube. So, and I said, well, you'll just have to wait and watch the video." But then again, like, they'll specifically ask me, "Did you see Bigfoot?" I said, "No, you can't expect to see him. You can only hope to see something.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if I find something, which is awesome, I always point it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been numerous times I haven't heard nothing, I haven't seen nothing. I mean, but the thing is, it's never disappointing, because if you're going to be out doing this, you got to enjoy nature, for one thing. And I love being out there. It's a home away from home, and it's peaceful, and you can really gather your thoughts out there. It's the only place for me that I'm not disturbed.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So on
Absolutely.
this mini series that you're coming out with now, is this going to be just you in this mini series showing what you're doing out in the field, or what's it about exactly?
yeah, on the most part, it's basically going to be a lot of my field research, me exploring. And I've already spoken to a couple people. I will have interviews on there. It'll be documented interviews anywhere from eyewitnesses to even skeptics. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something I'm working on now. I've already did some filming this past weekend for that. It's going to be Bigfoot Adventures featuring yours truly, and there is something I'm considering doing later on. Is actually making an actual movie. I got some equipment I ordered that will be here this weekend, so I could actually properly do some more night filming. So I got some. Yeah, so I'm gonna experiment with some of that with my night vision. And I mean, I already have night vision devices, but as far as filming, I got regular infrared attachments for my camera. Yeah, I'll be deploying more game cameras, and I need to be smart about how I do that, because I've had trail cameras stolen from me before. So
Wow.
yeah. So I just got 3 brand new. I got one out there right now in the woods, and I got 3 more that I'll be putting out this weekend and doing some more exploring. So yeah. But
Can you tell everybody about your
real quick,
conference?
Krista,
Go ahead.
before you start with that, I have to sign off.
Okay.
But I just want to tell everybody, thank you again. And Daniel, it was so wonderful to meet you.
Oh yeah, likewise.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have to sign off. This is busy season for work, and so I have to be up by 4 in the morning, so I'm a little tired.
Wow.
Yeah, and possibly work a double tomorrow. So yes,
Get
so
some rest.
I gotta
go to bed.
Gotta get to bed.
Well,
but real quick before I say goodbye, I want to say to Penny, like, they both say hello. Penny and Cricket.
Yeah.
And yes, I kiss them daily. So, but thank you guys so much. And
thank you.
I'm sorry I have to sign off early, but thank you again. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Great meeting you, Aaron.
It was wonderful to meet you too.
Bye, Aaron.
Good night, Aaron. Yeah, do you like I had told you when we were off screen, honestly, we had considered coming to your event, and it was just so far for us, and because you really have some cool people coming. Can you tell people about it, when it is, where it is, the whole 9 yards, who you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've been holding 2 events every year. I do the June event. I've been doing that for going on 5 years now.
Mhm.
And then I also hold an October event, which that's more of a fall festival, Bigfoot event, and everything's outside. However, our June event, happening this year, June 17th of 2023, it's happening in Wares Cave, Virginia, at the Wares Cave Community Center. And you can find further information on that. We have the Virginia, the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot event page on Facebook, or you could go to www.vabigfootcon.com. I try to keep that updated as much as possible.
Mhm.
Now we have up to 6 speakers, technically 7. Starting at 10 a.m., we have a real good friend of mine, Ron Howes from Pennsylvania. He is a Air Force veteran, and he's going to be on my event MC and also doing the opening ceremony presentation speech at 10 a.m. He's a real great guy. I can't wait to have him talk. Then I have speakers coming all the way from Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Illinois. Man, I'm trying to think. Did I say? Yeah, I think Tennessee is one of them.
Mhm.
But as far as vendors, we got vendors coming all the way up from South Carolina, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and other surrounding states. So, we got a good variety of people. Our events have been attracting people. We've had people come all the way from Washington State and Oregon.
Wow.
Texas, Florida. I mean, it's awesome. It's been
Yeah.
very, very encouraging to have these people come out from these states just to attend these events. I will say this year, we picked up a lot more Bigfoot, Sasquatch themed vendors, which we've always had a good variety of them.
Mhm.
But we tend to pick up a lot of arts and crafts, which we try not to overdo on them. But yeah, a lot of our vendors are all Bigfoot themed, paranormal, because we got paranormal teams that will be attending. We're definitely looking forward to having them. Big shout out to Lyle Lotz, Tana Lotz, and Brandon Johnson of the Twisted Paranormal Society. Again, they are a major help and major asset to our event. Like I said, they've been sponsoring every year, and they've been excellent at providing equipment for the presentations and everything else. So, we got, man, there's so much good stuff to mention. One of he's not a speaker, but he will be there set up with all the vendors. For those who know from the show on Animal Planet, it doesn't run anymore, but Call the Wild Man, aka Turtle Man, Ernie Brown Jr. He will be our guest celebrity. He'll be set up again with all the vendors. I met him a couple times. He's from out of Kentucky, but I met him in Tennessee. And he draws in a pretty decent crowd. So we're expecting and anticipating a very decent turnout this year, which our events have been growing. Yeah. So
Fantastic. I know we do an event every year ourselves. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of planning, a lot of heartache because, you get overworked and they're not cheap to do.
No.
So I commend you for doing 2 a year because, we struggle doing our one.
Right.
It's I'm considering. I just started doing the second one a couple years ago, and I'm actually considering just turning it into just the one big event again. Because it is a lot, and I was with a former relationship I was in. I had some help with a lot of preparation for the second event, and it's just. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing it. I may just bring it down to the June event, because there's other, like the October event, there's other events that I attend, and so I want to consider saving myself some time and relaxation in between, so because June and October are my busiest months. I mean, I got several things happening in June because I'll be in West Virginia. I'll be in Pennsylvania. Then I got my June event. So there's a lot going on there. So
understand.
then yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. I'm the only one that's hosting and organizing this, and but over the last couple of years, I've been picking up on more sponsors, which has been very helpful. With the funding that gets put into these events. So,
right.
So, because I don't know. Without these sponsors, it would be a lot more struggle. I will say so.
The struggle is real. I totally understand. We just done our third one, and we're doing another one this year. And it's just trying to find the speakers, and we always do ours for some sort of charity. So we donate the money to a charity. So we don't have a lot of money to pay people. So we with donating it. So
we have to rely on everybody's kindness to help us out, because, like I said, we don't keep any of the money. We just put it right back out.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like with my case, in most cases, I end up breaking even. Depends. I mean, there's very little profit involved, but if there's what little profit there is, it gets turned around to put back in towards next year's event.
Right.
Right. So
I understand that.
Yeah, a lot of people think, oh yeah, you guys are just doing it for the money. I think that some of them are, but we're not all like that. They don't.
Right. I know several people who have put on conferences, and nobody ever says, "Oh, we made a killing," because you don't. You don't. You do it because it's something you want to educate people, or whatever. It's you don't definitely don't do it for the money. No.
Just for enjoyment purposes.
Right.
Like,
I mean.
You're going to have the Turtle Man. How freaking cool is that?
Right. Now, for what he costs, I wouldn't be able to cover him out of my own pocket. One of my sponsors.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my sponsors from Virginia here drove all the way down to meet up with him and his girlfriend to pay for him. Yeah, wow. I mean, I got to cover his hotel lodging, but but yeah, for what it costs him, it's a 4-digit number. So
yeah.
We've had several.
Tell them hi.
We've had several in the past too ourselves that were in the 4 digits that we had to pay, and actually they gave us a break from what their normal rates were. So we were there, but I get what you're going through. It's I commend you for it, because it's a lot of work and a lot of an expense. Really is.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when I get asked to go to these events, a lot of times I was doing it strictly out of my own pocket, but it got to the point where I can't do that no more. And the thing is, some people look down on people that, oh, are you charging to go to that event? So I can't afford it out of my own pocket. I got to give a fee, traveling expenses, the gas, everything, even lodging. But now, so I throw out there. I said, well, this is what I offer. I mean, I'll be more than glad to do it. I would love to do it. If they agree to my terms, hey, awesome. I mean, if it limits the amount of events I do per year, so be it. It gives me more time out in the woods,
Right.
So,
exactly.
Exactly. So it's not going to hurt me.
We're actually this year, we've always done paranormal conferences. This year we're doing our first Bigfoot conference. We're doing the one in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're actually gonna
be there.
Yeah, we are.
Very awesome. I have never been to that one. I mean, I know I have some good friends that go to that one every year among the other Tennessee events. So, that's pretty cool. I need to get down there, but
we'll come this year.
That's a possibility. It depends on when. But the thing is, I know my ex-girlfriend, which was very much involved, that's how we met. She was one of my vendors a couple years ago. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if I have a reason to go there, I mean, I guess I'll go check it out. But if I could afford the trip.
Right. So, I understand that. Totally understand that. Well, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. This has been great. I've actually learned a lot from you this evening, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed being on here with you girls.
You're more than welcome to come back anytime, and also post your stuff, your shows, your conventions on Blondes and Booze Facebook page. You're more than welcome to anytime.
Well,
For
thank
sure.
you very much for that. So I do want to throw it out there real quick for anyone that may be in the Pennsylvania area. I don't have the address with me, but I have it posted on my timeline. There is a Bigfoot Town Hall meeting. It's free to attend. It's happening January 14th, next weekend.
Wow.
And it's at the, I don't know the exact address, but it's at the Overlook Fire Department in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone's welcome to come out there, share their stories with us. I know me and I believe the other gentleman that's going to be there. We're going to give some short, brief talks. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes tops. But yeah, we're going to talk. I think the other gentleman's name is Sean Forker. I haven't met him in person yet. So, but Gwendolyn Purcell is the host and organizer of that, because she does have a Bigfoot event that she's working on, planning. And check out her Facebook page. I'm going to show you my shirt. Oh, I don't know if my shirt will. Let's see. Let me.
I can see your shirt. Yep. Got knockers. Yep.
Yes. So
Awesome.
yeah,
I need one of those.
We do.
yeah. So
I need it on
yeah.
a hat though.
She's got plenty of hats. Yes. Gotknockers.net, I believe, is her website.
Let me
Let
write
me
that
write
down.
it down.
To verify, she's got a Facebook page. She's got the Got Knockers community group, and then she's got the Got Knockers Facebook page. So
Okay.
So
I'm gonna look her up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm always looking for new hats. I'm always wearing different hats. I love hats.
Yes, she's got a good variety of different hats. The one thing I like about her hats, they're the flex fit hats. They fit nice and comfortably.
Yeah.
She's got shirts and hoodies. And another thing, to switch gears, if you guys love barbecue sauce, made straight out of Kentucky, and it's Kentucky bourbon based. My real good friend and fellow researcher, Michael Cook of Cook Cryptid Research, has his own barbecue sauce that's making headlines, and it's called Sauce Squatch, SOS Squatch, all one word. He's got a variety of flavors. You can check them out. Some of the flavors he has available, he's actually turning them into seasonal flavors. But so right now he's got certain ones out right now. Even a hot sauce that's what's it, Kentucky maple bourbon or something like that, or maple bourbon. Yeah, it's really great stuff. But yeah, he's got a Facebook event page. A Facebook page based off of that.
Okay.
Again, it's called Sauce Squatch. SOS Squatch, all one word. Yeah. And you can find his website on. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Sasquatch. I think the Facebook page is Sasquatch LLC, but the website is sasquatch.com. So, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
Absolutely.
We definitely thank you for coming on, and to everybody that's in the chat, come back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. We have Joe and Jesse, Hellbent Holler. They're going to be on, and we're going to talk some cool stuff with them too. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely appreciate you, Daniel. You're more than welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. I had a really good time. And
well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
you're very knowledgeable, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, the stories were just, they were amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It was great being on here. I really had fun.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.